Now, this is the video that you've all been waiting for, the big comparison between the Meganex Superlight 8K and the Bigscreen Beyond 2. Now, both are incredible headsets, don't get me wrong, but they have big differences that you must be aware of. So let's directly dive into it and let's start with the price. The Bigscreen Beyond 2 is cheaper. It costs $1,019 with the non-eye tracking version and $1,219 with the eye tracking version. That's without tax. In Europe, the non-eye tracking version is going to set you back 1,369 euros, and the eye tracking version is going to set you back 1,549 euros. That's including tax. And if you want the Halo mount, which I believe is a must buy, you're going to have to add 50 euros on top. Now, the Meganex, already including this Halo style design head strap, is going to set you back 1,900 euros or US dollars, and both is already including tax. So yes, if you want a cheaper device, definitely go for the Bigscreen Beyond 2. However, there is a reason why the Meganex is more expensive. And well, that has to do with the visuals and especially with the displays. So let's talk about the displays. The Meganex has 4K Micro-OLED displays from BOE, while the Bigscreen Beyond 2 only has 2.5K Micro-OLED panels. And yes, you do see that difference. While the Bigscreen Beyond 2 resolution is without a doubt adequate and it looks good, without a doubt you do see that the Meganex simply has more pixels. The fill factor is so much higher, the pixel density is so much higher, so visuals simply look more realistic and more even photorealistic, I would say. And that is true even for lower resolutions. So even if you run the same game at the same, let's say 3K by 3K resolution, the visuals of the Meganex will look better. Both headsets run with a maximum of 90 Hz, but the Bigscreen Beyond 2 also has a 75 Hz mode that is not dependent on DSC, so that is a nice thing to have. And I hope that the Meganex will also include like a 72 or 75 Hz mode, and they will do that. Now let's have a look at the brightness and let's compare it. Well, actually it's very comparable. If you do an A/B comparison, you do not really see that one headset is much brighter than the other, so both are fine. But the Beyond has an overdrive mode that will sacrifice low persistence for brightness. So you will get motion blur in that kind of mode, but it is much brighter. So if you are not sensitive to motion blur at all, well, that's good for you, because then you can use that overdrive mode. That perhaps would be a good idea also for Meganex to have it in the future. So next, let's go to lenses. And I'm really happy to tell you that both lenses are really good. Both use pancake lenses and both have a great edge-to-edge clarity with a very good sweet spot. So I would not call a clear winner here, but what you can see is that the lenses of the Meganex are actually a bit bigger, and also the displays are a bit bigger. So we have a 1-inch display for the Beyond and the 1.3-inch display for the Meganex. Now, one notable advantage for the Meganex is that it has built-in diopter adjustment. So if you're short-sighted, you can set your diopter from 0 to -7 for each of the eyes and don't even need some lens inserts. If you need to rely on lens inserts, both headsets offer that, and both headsets offer a magnetical solution where you simply pop those lens inserts onto the main lenses, and I think that is a great solution. Yeah, let's talk about glare. So there was a big problem of the first Beyond, but the second Beyond doesn't have it anymore, or much less, so that's good. So both headsets are actually good, and they are better, for example, than the Pico 4 in terms of glare, but both still have glare. So if you hoped for headsets that don't have glare at all, no. The Quest 3 is still winning here, and it still has overall the best pancake lenses. But again, both are very comparable with glare and it's acceptable. So now let's talk about IPD adjustment. So yes, the Beyond 2 finally has IPD adjustment. However, you have to do it manually with a little screwdriver that they would supply to you, and you can set IPD for each of the eyes individual. The Meganex has motorized IPD adjustment, so that is very good. You set up the IPD in the software for you and also for your coworkers or your partner, and then once the other person uses it, you simply choose it in the software and the lenses automatically go into the right distance. So actually that is more useful than the IPD adjustment in the Beyond 2. And I believe it's good for the resale value of the Beyond 2, but I don't think it's really very useful if you want to quickly share it with your coworkers or with somebody at your household. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. I feel it's still more of a headset that is made for one person, but you have a better resale value now because you can change the IPD if you want. All right, next let's talk about FOV. Obviously, that's a huge one. That's a very important factor for many of you. So for the FOV, the Bigscreen Beyond actually wins horizontally. Horizontally, it has 104 degrees from my measurements, and the Meganex has 94 degrees horizontally. For vertical, for my measurements, the Meganex wins. The Bigscreen Beyond 2 has 90 degrees vertical, and the Meganex has 94 degrees vertical. So you do see more horizontally with the Beyond 2, but that advantage is indeed bought with a worse binocular overlap. Okay, here we are again. This is an MRTV video, right? So you can clearly see the area in your vision that does not overlap with the Beyond 2. And for the Meganex, it's near perfect and you don't have that problem. So I personally just prefer overlap because over longer sessions, it feels more natural to the eye. So it's easier on the eye. But yeah, for some people, they might not be so sensitive to it, right? So if you felt that the Quest 3 is totally fine for you, then the Bigscreen Beyond 2 will also be totally fine for you, right? So the Quest 3 also does it. It also sacrifices binocular overlap for a bigger FOV, and that's exactly what the Beyond 2 also does. So for the binocular overlap, yes, I simply love it on the Meganex Superlight 8K. It's like the Pico 4, it's just great and very natural. On Beyond 2, it's still acceptable, and you can also enjoy the device, so it's more like Quest 3, where more FOV and less overlap is given to you. Yeah. So, and many people don't seem to have a problem with Quest 3, right? So I simply want to mention it. So who are you? Are you on Team FOV or are you on Team Overlap? We still not have the device which has the perfect overlap and a very huge FOV. Oh, but wait, we have the PSVR 2, which gives us a really great overlap and a great FOV. Yeah, the PSVR 2 is incredible. If we didn't have that Miura though. And you don't have Miura here with both of these headsets, and that is fantastic. So next, let's talk about distortions. So the Meganex Superlight 8K does suffer from slight warping in the very outer areas of the lenses. I would say the last 5%. So when you get very close to the lenses like I do, it's not going to be a problem for you. And I'm personally very sensitive to distortions, but it's not a problem for me with the Meganex Superlight 8K. But it's there. And Shift All still should improve the distortion profile because that is a problem that can actually be solved with the distortion profile. So the Beyond 2 does not have this problem at all and therefore clearly wins the distortion section. So well done, Bigscreen team. So probably Shift All really needs to increase their render resolution to give us a better distortion profile to fix this problem. Yeah, eye tracking. So you can only get eye tracking on the Bigscreen Beyond 2E. So if you need eye tracking for your social interactions in VR chat, for example, well, it must be the Bigscreen Beyond 2E. We haven't heard about any kind of add-on module for the Meganex. I believe it would make lots of sense, but since I have not heard anything from the team about this, for me, it doesn't exist right now, so it must be the Bigscreen Beyond 2E if you want eye tracking. It's so clear. So, dear TK from Shift All, do let us know if you do an eye tracking module. That would be a very important information, and don't just suddenly give it to us. Tell us if you're working on it. All right, so now let's talk about the comfort. It's a big deal. And right now, I actually cannot do a final assessment because I have not tested the Beyond 2 Halo mount head strap that they will offer to us a bit later. So right now, I can only compare the Meganex, how it is right now with the Halo mount, versus the Beyond 2, how I have it right now, with that individually made for you silicone cushion. And well, for that, the choice is very clear, and the Meganex wins hands down. You don't have anything that sticks to your face. Many people can use it. You have flip up display, you have eye relief, you can change the angle, and overall it's simply the best head strap I've seen so far and the best comfort I've ever had in any kind of headset. And I absolutely mean it like this. So the Beyond 2 with that silicone cover that was made for your face cannot compete. Why is that the case? Well, you always feel it in your face, right? Because it sticks there. I don't like that feeling of that silicone touching your face. Once you sweat, it's very sticky, it's very damp, and I'm simply not a fan of it. But I have heard people who love it, right? So it's very individual. But this is MRTV, and I must tell you my opinion, and in my opinion, I don't like the I don't like the silicone cover. So I'm very much looking forward to that Halo mount, and I'm super happy that Bigscreen actually listens to the community, because the community said, hey, we want some general mount for the Beyond, and now we're going to get it. And dear Bigscreen team, big thumbs up for you for making it, and I can't wait to get it and show it here on the channel. But right now, Meganex wins the comfort hands down. Let's talk about audio. And here, the Bigscreen wins, because for the Meganex, there's no audio solution whatsoever right now. You have to bring your own audio. That does work because the strap, the soft strap, is so good, it allows for any kind of headphone to be used, right? But again, the Beyond 2 has a great audio strap. It's going to set you back another 100 or so, but it's good. It has the Porta Pro drivers from COS, and they have a very nice punch, and it makes everything more comfortable as well. Because the original soft strap for the Beyond 2 is not so great in my opinion. Okay, let's talk about the microphones. And both headsets have incredible microphones. So far, only the Beyond 1 and the Index had fantastic microphones, right? But now also really the Meganex microphones are fantastic. They are made by Technics and they sound amazing. Go to my review for a sound test. In the very beginning, Meganex had a problem with the software where it would give me a lisp when I was using the microphone, but they have solved this problem and they sound just as good now as the Beyond microphones. Very nice. So, next one, it's a big one, it's a GPU support. If you own an AMD GPU, you cannot use the Meganex. Wow, that's a huge one. So Meganex only supports NVIDIA GPUs. And that is not because of some technical problem. That is only because the company is currently lacking the resources to employ like an engineer who would make everything perfect for AMD GPUs. So probably down the line, if many people buy the Meganex, and many people do buy the Meganex, actually, they might offer that down the line. But right now, no AMD GPU support. And if you have an AMD GPU, you can go for the Beyond 2 because they fully support AMD GPUs. So that's a big win here for the Bigscreen Beyond 2. Now let's talk about software. So the Beyond is a native SteamVR headset. So what does it mean? It means that it relies on SteamVR Compositor to generate the frames. And that means You can use the built-in motion smoothing of SteamVR, and well, it is there right now. You can use it right now, and that's a good thing. So for the Bigscreen Beyond, you still get a little extra tool where you can set things like brightness and the refresh rate, and you can do the overdrive mode for the brightness, and you still have to manually set that IPD, right? That you also set on the hardware. So that's what you do there. For the Beyond, it is not a native SteamVR headset, which means it has its own compositor. So they also have to implement their own motion smoothing algorithm, which they are working on right now. But right now, there is no motion smoothing. So if you want motion smoothing right now, it must be the Beyond. But the Shift-Alt team is working on it right now as well. So there will be their own motion smoothing algorithm. But right now, March 2025, they don't have it yet. However, the Meganex software is also a bit more beefy and a bit more powerful. You can optimize the display colors more to your liking than you can do with the Beyond. And you can choose things like color temperature or color calibration, which makes it more usable for designers and professionals that need that perfect color calibration. Also, as I had mentioned above, the motorized IPD adjustment is actually more practical, where you would simply add the names of the people who use the headset. It stores the IPD values. You simply choose the name, and then the motors will put the lenses into the right position. Yeah, so how about OpenXR? So both headsets actually depend on the SteamVR implementation of OpenXR. For the Beyond, it absolutely makes sense because it's a SteamVR headset and you're unlikely to see its own OpenXR implementation at any time soon. For the Meganex, if they wanted, they could implement their own OpenXR native runtime, but I don't know if they actually want to do it. I haven't heard about this part. So now let's talk about controllers and tracking. Now both headsets are Lighthouse-based headsets, so you do need base stations, or at least one, and compatible controllers that are not in the box. However, one difference is that the Meganex has a dongle that you need to put into your computer in order to make controller tracking work, whereas that dongle is built into the Beyond 2 already, so you don't need an extra dongle. This can actually be an advantage if you change between Lighthouse headsets, like I do. Like I change between the Beyond, the Meganex, and the Pimax, for example, and I never have to repair the index controllers because they're always paired now to this one dongle, so that is cool. But it takes another USB port, and that's not great. Well, now you know. Anyways, if you don't like that Lighthouse-based system, even though you simply have to just set up one base station, put it into the power and set it and forget it. If you don't like that, well, probably you have to wait for the Pimax Dream Air, which was supposed to come out in May this year. I don't think it's going to happen though. I think it's more going to be Q4 2025 to be honest. But that Micro-OLED headset, it has also very high resolution 4K panels, and it's going to have inside-out tracking. So that might be something you want to wait for if you don't like those base stations. Next, let's talk about performance. And let's have a look at what kind of resolutions are rendered at 100% super sampling. So the Beyond renders at 3560 by 3560 pixels per eye. And for the Meganex, it's actually not much higher at 4084 by 4084 pixels. So that is actually not a huge difference, but still, even those resolutions are so close, the Meganex does look better, again, because of that higher fill factor, the higher pixel density. But even when you would downsample it to running both at 2.5K by 2.5K, both headsets do look great, but the Meganex would still have the advantage of that fill factor and the better overlap that feels more natural, well, at least to my eyes. And then because you have that higher panel resolution, right? Once you really want to drive it hard with a 5090 or in the future 6090, actually the Meganex is going to be more future-proof because it does have those pixels that you can actually drive. Yes. So now let's talk about the notable limitations. And again, no support for the AMD GPUs. That really, I want to hammer it down for you. If you have an AMD, the Meganex is not for you right now. Then also, unfortunately, the Meganex does not have a good return policy. For the Beyond, you can return it within a 2-week window with a restocking fee. I believe it's $200, so that is fair. For the Meganex, if it's not for you, you have to sell it, and I honestly hope that the company will be more flexible in the future when it comes to a better return policy, because I know that is important for many people out there. So let's come to the conclusion. So both are truly incredible headsets. And I don't think you will be unhappy if you go for either of those headsets, that's for sure. But you should go for the Bigscreen Beyond 2 if you want to spend a little less. So yes, it is a bit cheaper. And if you need eye tracking, because only the Bigscreen Beyond 2E offers eye tracking, for example, for VR chat. Also, if you want more FOV, and if you're not so sensitive to binocular overlap, as for example, you thought the Quest 3 is incredible for that, then also go for the Beyond 2 because it does have a better horizontal FOV. Also go for the Beyond 2 if you need working motion smoothing right now, and if you can't be bothered with any distortions in the peripheral outer vision. Because the distortion profile is really good and I couldn't find any kind of distortions. Or go for the Beyond 2 if you have an AMD GPU, because that will be supported. And now for the Meganex, go for the Meganex if you want the superior visuals with that gorgeous 4K displays per eye from BOE that is even easier on the eye thanks to the near perfect binocular overlap. And for that near perfect binocular overlap, you also find to have a little bit of a smaller FOV. Also, go for the Meganex if you need more flexibility when using it with more than one person at home or at work. Thanks to the motorized IPD adjustment, they will simply put the lenses into the right position depending on who is using it. And also go for the Meganex Superlight 8K if you want to use it for more professional use cases, for more professional options for color accuracy, for example. And go for it if you want to have a bit of a more future-proof resolution. They will still make the next generations of GPUs sweat because there's so many pixels to drive. And go for it if you, even at low resolutions, want that higher fill factor that makes everything look more real. So that's it for my comprehensive comparison between the Meganex Superlight 8K and the Bigscreen Beyond 2E. So happy that we have both companies. Both companies are producing exceptionally amazing PCVR headsets. And yeah, I believe that no matter which one you go for, you will love it. I love them both. They are a bit different, but it's great that we have both of them. So now do leave me a comment in the comment section. Which one are you going to get? Are you going to get the Meganex Superlight 8K or are you going to get the Bigscreen Beyond 2? And of course, as always, if my videos help you to make a more educated purchasing decision, then of course, when you go for one of the two, I would be glad if you go through the MRTV affiliate links. They're always down in the description of the videos. Doesn't cost you a cent more, but you're supporting my work and you're supporting independent videos just like this one here that simply give you all the information you need for that educated purchasing decision. Right, that's it. And now give it a thumbs up. Absolutely subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so yet, and come to the MRTV Discord server where we discuss these headsets every single day. That's everything I have for this video. I'm looking forward to see you in the next one. Until then, bye-bye.